Rahman Rahim. Math, grade 5. Today we have how to convert the fraction to the decimal. How to write the fraction as a decimal. How to write the fraction as a decimal. So our lesson today, write fractions as decimal. Write as decimal. Please, all students, put your voice in mute. So our lesson today, how to write the fraction as a decimal. How to write the fraction as a decimal. So see with me now this video.
Let me give you some advice. The process of doing your
I asked my friend, which way is optimal to convert a fraction to a decimal? I gotta know now. Can't wait till later. He said, divide the numerator by the denominator. So I asked, huh? Well, how can that be done? As far as I know, 2 doesn't go into 1. He said, listen, here's what you need to know. Just write a decimal point followed by a 0. And you know 2 goes into 10 5 times. Then the decimal point rises above the line.
The numerator becomes a dividend, and write a decimal point and a 0 in the tenth. Divide and write the decimal point in the quotient. So 1/2 and 5/10 are equivalent.
Later on, I was hanging with my stuffed animal, showing him how to convert a fraction to a decimal. I divided the numerator by the denominator, as he sat there real quiet like a spectator. I bet he was thinking, 5 can't go into 2. But luckily for him, I knew just what to do. I said, listen, here's how it's got to go. Just write a decimal point, followed by a 0. Then 5 goes into 24 times, and the decimal point jumps up on the line.
The numerator becomes a dividend, and write a decimal point and a 0 in the tenth. Divide and write the decimal point in the quotient. So 2/5 and 4/10 are equivalent. The numerator becomes a dividend, and write a decimal point and a 0 in the tenth. Divide and write the decimal point in the quotient. So 1/2 and 5/10 are equivalent.
I had to get my homework done before the school dance. I had to convert a fraction, couldn't leave it to chance. I divided the numerator by the denominator, but to my surprise, there was no remainder. I texted my friend, I don't want to be late. Can you tell me how to divide 1 by 8? She said,
Write 2 more zeros to the right of the dividend. The value will be unchanged. It's equivalent.
I divided the 2 numbers and got 0.125. We arrived just in time to see Number Rock live.
The numerator becomes a dividend, and write a decimal point and a 0 in the tenth. Divide and write the decimal point in the quotient. So 2/5 and 4/10 are equivalent. The numerator becomes a dividend, and write a decimal point and a 0 in the tenth. Divide and write the decimal point in the quotient. So 1/2 and 5/10 are equivalent.
Okay, this song about how to convert fractions to the decimals. طيب. What is the difference between a fraction and decimal? What is the difference between the fraction and the decimal? As you know, a fraction compare between two things. So I can put number up and number down. And we have the fraction between the numerator and the denominator. This is the meaning of the fraction. I can change the fraction to the decimal. We have many methods. We want to learn the easy method today. And inshallah, in the next lessons, we will learn how to solve how to convert the decimal, the fraction to the decimal using the division. As you know, the decimal has whole number and has a part of tens, and we put the point to separate between the whole number and the decimals. The first number before the point to the right direction, the first digit we have the tenths, then hundredths, then thousandths. And after the point to the left direction, we have whole numbers, ones, tens, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, like this. So what is our lesson today? We want to learn how to write fraction as a decimal, how to write a fraction as a decimal. طيب, see with me now this video.
Hi, Mr. I am Zart.
The great enemy of writing isn't your own lack of talent, it's being interrupted.
Okay, in the last section, we learned one of the most important things about fractions. We learned that they're numbers that are written like division problems. We also know that fractions can be used to represent smaller parts of things. Now, since a fraction is just a division problem, if we wanted to, we could go ahead and do the division and get an answer. And that answer would be a regular number that's the value of the fraction. Let's look at this fraction, for example, 10 fifths. That's the same as the division problem, 10 divided by 5. Now we know that 10 divided by 5 is 2, so the value of this fraction is 2. So what's the deal? The value 2 doesn't seem like a smaller part of something. In fact, it seems like 2 of something. I mean, aren't fractions supposed to have a value smaller than 1? Here's the deal. If the top number of a fraction is bigger than the bottom number, then the value of the fraction will be greater than 1. But if the top number is smaller than the bottom number, then the value of the fraction will be smaller than 1. But if we divide a smaller number by a bigger number and get a value that's smaller than 1, then how are we going to write that down like a regular number? I mean, isn't 1 the smallest number we can write? Well, besides 0. Luckily, the answer is no. You see, we can write values that are smaller than 1 by using something called decimal numbers. To understand how decimal numbers work, let's first review how we write down regular numbers that don't involve fractions. We call those numbers whole numbers. We use whole numbers when we count things, and counting things is very important in math. The system that we count things with is based on the number 10. In fact, it's called base 10. And it uses what we call powers of 10 as the groups or building blocks that we count with. It's probably no surprise that our first building block is 1, and we can get bigger building blocks just by multiplying by 10. So our next building block is 1 times 10, or 10. And the one after that is 10 times 10, or 100. And the one after that is 100 times 10, which is 1,000. I could keep on multiplying by 10 to get bigger and bigger building blocks, but I think I'm going to stop at 1,000 for now. So what am I going to do with all these powers of 10? Well, like I said, they're the building blocks of our counting system. So I'm going to count with them. But before I do that, I should mention 2 more things that our number system needs besides these building blocks. And those 2 things are digits and number places. Digits are just the 10 different symbols we use for counting. You know, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Number places are like little imaginary boxes that can hold just one digit at a time, and they're used like counters, to count things. We use one number place for each of our building blocks to count how many of each of them we have. For example, let's say I have 2 hundreds. Well, then I just put a 2 in the number place that counts how many hundreds I have. And let's say I have 5 tens. Well, then I put a 5 in the number place that counts tens. And I also have 3 ones. So I put a 3 in the number place that counts ones. Each number place is named for the building block it counts. For example, this number place is called the ones place because it counts ones. This is the tens place because it counts tens. And the hundreds place counts hundreds, and so on. Of course, most of you aren't used to seeing numbers written like this, so let's rearrange our number places to make it look more like we're used to. There. Now you can see that the 2 in the hundreds place, the 5 in the tens place, and the 3 in the ones place all combine to make 253. Oh, and most of the time we don't actually show the number places. They're invisible. There, that's better. Okay, so that's how we use our building blocks, number places, and digits to write any whole number we want to. But this video is about fractions, right? So how are we going to write fractions with this system? A lot of fractions have values smaller than 1. But right now, our smallest building block is 1. It looks like we're going to need some smaller building blocks. You remember how we got our other base 10 building blocks. We started with 1 and kept multiplying by 10 to get bigger and bigger building blocks. Well, to get smaller building blocks, all we have to do is start with 1 and keep dividing by 10. Wait a minute, divide a smaller number like 1 by a bigger number like 10? Well, that sounds like a fraction to me. Exactly. If we do that, the building block we get will be a fraction, and its value will be 1 part out of 10, or 1/10. And we can use that to write values that are smaller than 1. A good way to see how this new building block fits in with the other ones is to look at a number line. Oh, look, a number line. And it goes from 0 to 10, and it shows our first 2 building blocks, 1 and 10. If we take 10 and divide it into 10 equal parts, each of those parts is equal to 1. And if we take 1 and divide it into 10 equal parts, then each of those parts is a 10th. Now our number line shows 3 building blocks, 10, 1, and a 10th. A 10th is a small number, but we can get even smaller building blocks if we keep dividing by 10. So let's take 1/10 and divide it into 10 equal parts. This even smaller fraction is called a hundredth, which is 1 out of 100. And since it's 1 over 100, it would take 100 of them to equal 1. We can see this by taking all 10 of our tenths and dividing each of them into 10 parts. Now, if we count up all of those smaller parts, we'll find that there are 100 of them. We could keep on dividing with our number line to get smaller and smaller building blocks, but I'll show you an even easier way to find them. Let's list the building blocks we have so far. Notice that on this side of the 1, the first building block is 10. And on the other side of the 1, the first building block is 1 over 10. And back on this side, our next building block is 100, and on the other side, it's 1 over 100. Well then, if the next building block on this side is 1,000, what do you suppose the next building block on the other side will be? Yep, you guessed it, 1 over 1,000, or 1,000th. Of course, I could keep on going in either direction, getting powers of 10 that are bigger and bigger whole numbers, or smaller and smaller fractions, but I think these are enough for now. All right, now that we have all these new smaller or fractional building blocks, it means that we can count smaller and smaller parts of things. But to do that, we're going to need a new number place for each of them. This will be called the tenths place because it counts tenths. And this will be the hundredths place because it counts hundredths. And this will be the thousandths place because it counts thousandths. To see how the new number places work, let's bring back our last example digits. 2 hundreds, 5 tens, and 3 ones. But this time, let's add 6 tenths by putting a 6 in the tenths place, and 4 hundredths by putting a 4 in the hundredths place. Now let's put our number places back like we're used to seeing them. Uh-oh, looks like there's a problem. This number looks like 25,364, but we only added tiny little fractions to our 253. It can't be that big. Here's our problem. We can't tell which number place is which because they all look the same. What we need is a kind of marker that will help us tell them apart. And that marker is called a decimal point. The decimal point is just a dot that we always put right here between the ones place and the tenths place. That way we always know that the ones place is on the left of the decimal point and the tenths place is on the right. There, that's better. Now our number reads 253.64. That's how you read the decimal point when you get to it. You just say point. So the decimal point is really just a separator between the number places that count whole numbers on this side from the number places that count fractions on this side. These amounts are greater than 1, and these amounts are smaller than 1. We call numbers that use a decimal point decimal numbers, or decimals for short. So that's how decimal numbers work, and they're important because we use them to convert a fraction from a division problem into a regular number. In the next section, we'll learn how to convert some special fractions into decimals. But before that, let's do a quick review. If we take a fraction and do the division, we'll get an answer, and that answer is called the value of the fraction. Our number system is called base 10. It uses powers of 10 as building blocks for counting, as well as 10 different digits. Number places are like counters that hold one digit at a time and help us count how many of each base 10 building block a number is made of. There are base 10 building blocks like 1, 10, 100, and 1,000 that help us make really big numbers. There are also very small base 10 building blocks, fractions that are smaller than 1, that help us make really small numbers. These building blocks have names like tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. The decimal point is a separator that goes between the number places that count values of 1 or greater from the number places that count values smaller than 1. To make sure you understand how decimals work and how they relate to fractions.
Okay, this is the meaning, how to write a fraction as decimal, how to write fraction as a decimal. But here we have example 1. See with me now.
قهوة ممكن أداول عليها.
رحلتها ممتازة اليوم.
صفقات على العملات ربحا.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and today we're going to be going over how to turn a fraction into a decimal using denominators 10 or 100. If we have a number like 3/10, that's it written as a fraction. And if we want to think of it as a decimal, we can say that's 3/10. The first number, the first digit after the decimal is the tenths place. So we're just going to write 0.3. That's 3/10. If we have 3/100, that's the number as a fraction. We want to turn it into a decimal. The first is the tenths place. The second is the hundredths place. So it's 3/100. We're going to put it in the hundredths place. And then we're just going to put a 0 in the tenths place, because that's the number before 3, right? There's nothing. It's 0. If we have 30/100, well, that's the same as 3/10, right? If you reduce it. So again, that's 0.3. You can write it as 0.30. It's the same thing, 0.30, right, over 100. You can say that's the hundredths place. But you don't need to write a 0 because it's after the decimal. So you don't actually need to have that. You can just write 0.3. I'm Rachel, and thanks.
Listen please to these examples. Here we have a fraction, 3/10. As you see here, the denominator will be 10. The denominator here will be 100. So the denominator will be the power of tens, the power of tens. For the first example, 3/10. 3/10 means 3 part of tens. So when you see here 10, directly put the point because we have decimal. Separate between the whole number and the part of tens. And the 3 here were in the tenths. So the first digit before the point. So put here 3. Then we don't have the whole number. I can put here 0. I can put here 0 because I don't have the whole number. In the second example, we have 3/100 means 3/100ths, 3/100ths, 3 part of hundredths. So when you have in the denominator here 100, put point, means we have here decimal. Then we would put the 3 as the hundredths digit. So this is tenths digit. We don't have here any value, so put 0. And this is the hundredths digit, put here 3. And you can put here 0 because I don't have the whole number. I don't have the whole number. Here the same idea. I have 30 over 100. So when you see here down in the denominator, when you see 100, 10 or 100 or 1000 or 10,000 or power of tens, means we have decimal. Means we have decimal. As you see here, we have 13 parts of hundredths. So put 13 at the part of hundredths, at the hundredths digit. So I can write 30 before the point. And here we don't have any whole number, so I can write 0. I can write 0. The 0 here doesn't has any value. I can remove it. I can remove it, and I can write it. No problem.
Thanks for learning with us today.
Okay, listen with me to this exercise, to this example. Write the fraction as a decimal. Write the fraction as a decimal. We have this fraction 1 over 5. 1 over 5. To convert the fraction, to change the fraction to the decimal, always remember, the denominator will be the power of tens. The denominator will be the power of tens. So here 5. How to change 5 to 10? How to change 5 to 10? Think, ask yourself, which number multiplied by 5 equal 10? Will be 2. So I can write 1 over 5 and here multiply by 2 and here multiply by 2. Why? To change the 5 to 10. To change the 5 to 10. To get the power of tens to change to the decimal. So 2 times 1 will be 2. And 2 times 5 will be 10. Now I can change. Now I can change because the denominator here, the power of tens. This is 10. How to change? 2 over 10 means 2 part of tenths. So put the decimal at the first, then put the 2 in the 10th digit, the first digit before the point. Then here we don't have the whole number, so the value will be 0. So the number will be 0.2, 0.2. So I can write 1 over 5 equal 0.2. This is the easy method to change from fraction to the decimal. Example 2. Write the fraction as a decimal. Here we have a fraction 8 over 10. As you see here, we have in the denominator here, we have the power of 10. We have 10. So I can change directly. I can change directly. How? What's the meaning of 8 over 10? 8 means 8 parts of 10. So put the 8 in the 10th digit. So put the point, before the point, the first digit here will be what? Tenths. So put here. Put 8 here. So at the whole number here, we don't have any value. So put 0. So 8 over 10 will be 0.8. 8 over 10 will be 0.8. This is a fraction, and this is the decimal. Example 3. Write the fraction as a decimal. We have this fraction now, 17 over 20. Look to the denominator here, down. 20 is not the power of 10. So the first step, change 20 to the power of 10. Which number? Ask yourself, which number times 20 equal 100? Which number times 20 equal 100? So will be 5. So I can write now
Mr. 5.
17 times 5 up and 20 times 5 down. 17 times 5 will be 85. 20 times 5 will be 100. Now I get the power of tens. Now I can change the fraction to the decimal. What's the meaning of 85 over 100? Means I have 85 parts of hundredths. So put 85 in the hundredths digit. So put the point, before the point, we have 2 digits to get the hundredths digit. So 85. Then, as you see, we don't have the whole number, so put here 0 means no whole number. So the number will be now 0.85. So 17 over 20, 17 over 20 equals 0.85, equals 0.85. Example 4, write the fraction as a decimal. We have this fraction now, 8 over 25. As you see here, the denominator here 25. I cannot change directly because the denominator doesn't have the power of tens. So what I do, try to find which number multiplied by 25 equal 100. 4. So try to multiply the numerator and denominator here by 4. So I can write 8 times 4 and 25 times 4. So 8 times 4 will be 32 and 25 times 4 will be 100. Now as you see here, I can't change now because the denominator has a power of 10. So what's the meaning of 32 over 100? Means I have 32 pieces or parts from the whole hundreds. So write 32 in the hundredths digit. So before the point, the hundredths digit, before the point, 2 digits. So write 32 here before the point. And after the point here, we have the whole number, no value for the whole number here. So I put 0, I put 0. So the decimal will be 0.32, 0.32. So 8 over 25, 8 over 25 equal 0.32. Example 5. Write the fraction as a decimal. Write the fraction as a decimal. We have this fraction now, 3 over 4. 3 over 4. As you see here, the denominator is a whole number, 4. The denominator here doesn't has the power of 10, so I cannot change directly. So what I do, try to convert 4 to the power of 10s. Ask yourself which number multiply by 4 equal 10. We don't have whole number multiplied by 4 equal 10. Ask yourself which number multiplied by 4 equal 100. Equal 100. So 25. Try 25. So I can multiply the numerator and the denominator by 25. So I can write 3 multiplied by 25, and here I can write 4 multiplied by 25. 3 multiplied by 25 equals 75, and 4 multiplied by 25 equal 100. Now I can convert, I can change now because the denominator has the power of 10s. Here we have 100. What's the meaning of 75 over 100? Means I have 75 parts of the whole number 100. So write 75 in the hundredths digit, Put the point, then put 2 digits here, 75, and put 0 here because we don't have whole number. So 3 over 4 equal 0.75, Example 6. Write the fraction as a decimal. We have this fraction 3 over 8. We cannot convert directly because the denominator here doesn't have the power of 10s. So what I do, try to change 8 to the power of 10s. Try to change 8 to 10 or to 100 or 2000. Think which number multiplied by 8 equal 10, we don't have. Which number multiplied by 8 equal 100, we don't have. Which number multiplied by 8 equal 1000? You can divide 1000 divided by 8, you will find 125. So I can write 3 and 8 by 125. So I can write here 3 multiplied by 125, then 8 multiplied by 125. Now 3 multiplied by 125 will be 375, and 8 multiplied by 125 will be 1000. So I can now convert to the decimal because the denominator now has the power of 10s. Now, how to change to the decimal? What's the meaning of 375 over 1000? Means I have 375 parts of 1000, the whole part. So put 375 in the thousandths digit. So I can write before the point 3 digits, 3 here, 7 here, and 5 here. So this is a 375 thousandths. And before and after the point we have 0 because we don't have the whole number. So I can write 3 over 8. I can write 3 over 8 equal 0.375. 0.375. Example 7. Write the fraction as a decimal. We have this fraction 7 over 50. 7 over 50. I cannot convert directly because the denominator here doesn't have the power of tens. So try to change 50 to the 100. Try to change 50 to the 100. Ask yourself which number multiply 50 equal hundreds. You will get 2. So I can write the numerator and denominator by 2. So I can write 7 multiplied by 2 over 15 multiplied by 2. 7 multiplied by 2 will be 14. And 50 multiplied by 2 will be 100. So as you see here, I get the power of tens. What's the meaning of 14 over 100? Means I have 14 parts of the whole number 100. So put 14 as the second digit before the point, at the 100th digit. So 1 4 before the point. Then here 0 because I don't have the whole number. So I can write now 7 over 50 equal 0.14. I can read this number 0.14 or 0.14 hundredths. 0.14 hundredths. And here we have some videos. When you have free time, you can watch all these videos. And this is our lesson today. Now, who has a question? Who has a question now?
أستاذ الحين نقدر نطلع؟
No, stay.
أوكي. أستاذ خلصنا؟
No. Who has a question now?
أستاذ أنا عندي سؤال.
Yes. Tell me please.
أستاذ اللي طرشه في الجروب هال 75 50 جيب كيف نجيبه؟
This is Alif program. You must to do login in Alif program. Then you must do some practice inside. Then you will get the score. Now I ask you about our lesson today. Who has a question? What is our lesson? What we learned today? What is the name of our lesson today?
Divide decimal fraction. How to make fraction decimal.
How to change or how to write or how to convert a fraction to the decimal. Right. See with me now this video, please. Put your voice in mute. And see with me the video.
أستاذ. ألو أستاذ. أستاذ قبل ما تبدأ الفيديو.
Yes, سعيد.
أنت قلت الأسماء؟
لا بعد. انتظر شوي بعد.
أستاذ هاجي يصير حمام.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mrs. Verghese. Write 5/10 as two different decimals. One way that we can do this is to write our fraction into tenths. If we look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we have 5/10. We can also know that we read that as 5/10, so we can write that as 5/10. Then we can also change our fraction. We can write hundredths.
we read this, we see that it is half. We have this shaded part here is half. So we know that we read this as 50 hundredths. So we can also write that as 50 hundredths. So the decimals 0.5 and 0.50 are equivalent decimals.
Okay. Now, let us to take attendance now. All students, put your mic in mute. Just
Can
when
you
you
put the boy first?
just when you hear your name, say I'm here, then you can leave. Okay?
Okay.
Mister, can you do the girls first?
No, mister, can you do the boys?
Girls.
Boy.
Girls.
Guys. Boys.
Okay, Bati here.
Boys.
Where is Bati?
Mister, موجود.
Okay, you can leave now. Harib.
The
Okay, you can leave Harib now. Hamad Ali. You can leave now. منصور علي جمعة.
Hello, Ustad.
منصور علي.
Hello, Ustad.
موجود. You can leave now منصور. حمدان الكعبي. حمدان. Where is حمدان? Absent? Okay. طيب خالد خليل.
نعم.
You can leave now خالد. دانيال.
Yes. Yes.
You can leave. زايد. زايد. Okay, you can leave now زايد. سعيد.
نعم. Yes.
You can leave
Yes,
now.
Mister, I'm
سلطان علي.
نعم.
You can leave سلطان. سلطان غازي.
نعم.
You can leave now. عامر الكعبي.
نعم.
Okay, you can leave now عامر. عبد الله محمد الحمادي.
نعم. نعم.
نعم أستاذ.
Okay, you can leave now. عبد الله راشد.
نعم.
Okay, you can leave now. عبد الله الجابري.
نعم.
Yes, you can leave now. عبد الله مسعود.
نعم.
عبد الله مسعود.
نعم.
روضة, silent please. Put your voice in mute. Where is Abdullah Masood? Absent? Okay. Omar Ashraf. Omar Ashraf.
Absent.
عمر الشامسي.
نعم.
أستاذ موجود. Here.
فلاح.
نعم.
Okay, فلاح.
نعم.
You can leave now. مايد.
نعم. نعم.
You can leave now, مايد. محمد الحمادي.
نعم.
You can leave now. محمد سعيد. محمد سعيد السريحي. محمد سعيد.
نعم.
Absent. Okay. طيب محمد سهيل.
نعم.
You can leave now. مطاوع.
نعم.
You can leave now مطاوع. معاذ.
Here.
Great, معاذ. You can leave now. Now the second list.
Mister.
أسيل.
Here.
You can leave now. الياسيا.
Here.
You can leave now. جود.
Yes, Mister. I'm here.
Yes, you can leave now. Rinat. Rinat.
Yes.
Rinat.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, you can leave now. Rawda. You can leave now, Rawda. Shamsa.
Yes.
Okay, you can leave now, Shamsa. Sheikh Ahmed.
Yes.
Yes, you can leave now. Sheikh Badr.
Yes. Yes.
You can leave now. Alia.
Yes.
You can leave now. Latifa.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, you can leave now. Lean. Lean.
مين موجودة؟
Absent.
موجودة.
طيب. Maria.
نعم مستر.
Yes, you can leave now. Marwa.
Here.
Okay, you can leave now. Maryam.
نعم.
You can leave now. Mahra Faisal.
Here.
Now. Mo Zaid.
Here.
You can leave now. Nagam.
Here.
You can leave now. Noor Dhafir. Noora Dhafir.
Here.
You can leave now. Hajar.
Yes, Mister.
You can leave now. Mahra Khalfan.
Yes, Mister.
Great. You can leave now. All students, you can leave now. So this is our lesson today. How to write fractions as a decimal. Thank you for your listening. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.